This is an art collage novel video. I made this series so you guys can experience the story faster. The video will focus on the character's psychology. The images are for illustration purposes only. Yi Chengying was very happy and said, "That's right, if I'm not wrong, the divine item that is suppressing the eye of the seal here should be the dragon finger." Back then, the person who cast the seal was really generous. He was actually able to gather 7 dragon artifacts. Suyu nodded. Just the seal itself is shocking. What kind of existence will be sealed in the earth vein? I'm really looking forward to it. Master Suchu, aren't you afraid of what kind of monster is sealed inside? Yi Chengying suddenly laughed. I've thought about it, but it's been a long time. Even a monster can't have lived to this day, Suyu said with a smile. Moreover, the conditions recorded in the ancient books are exactly the same as this place, so the possibility of the secret to becoming a god is extremely high. The immortal state? Hang Yuan suddenly laughed. Is it really possible that the immortal state, the goal that many powerhouses have been pursuing since ancient times, exists? Suyu was stunned for a moment before he smiled and replied, "Of course. At the very least, this true dragon is a 10th level divine realm expert without a doubt, and the many dragon-related secret treasures on the continent are the best proof." Hang Yuan smiled slightly and remained silent, which made Suyu feel very uncomfortable. However, since the other party was an elder of the Sea of Soul formation, he did not ask too much. After they chatted for a while, Suyu excused himself. Yi Chengying's calm expression gradually disappeared, and was replaced by a face that was almost twisted with excitement. He shouted in a low voice, "The seal is finally going to be lifted. Lord Hang Yuan, our era is coming." Yi Chengying's eyes were radiating dense demonic qi. The other person in charge also had a demonic aura on his face as he revealed a strange smile. The expression on Hang Yuan's face was hard to fathom, but he could not help but tremble slightly with excitement. From the scale of this seal and the descriptions in the ancient books, it's very likely that the demon sealed below is the true body of the Demon Lord Emperor. This time, it's really going to be a world-changing event. Yi Chengying's eyes were filled with ruthlessness as he said with hatred, "After you release the true body of the Devil Master and your excellency recovers your strength, we'll be the first to charge into the Sea of Soul formation and crush Lu Songzi, that despicable man who deceived his master and destroyed his ancestor." "Killing Lu Songzi is just a piece of cake," Hang Yuan said with a sneer. "Just the demonic qi leaking out of the seal is already making me slowly recover. It's just that this possessed body is too weak. After the demon master awakens, I'll go find a better body. If the demon lord gives us a few pointers, we can even abandon our physical bodies and refine them into true demon bodies." The 3 of them were overjoyed. They instantly returned to the pit and began to break the seal. Thousands of miles above the burial land, the scion of the blood god was sitting with his eyes closed. Suddenly, a beam of light shot up from below and stopped in front of him. Jiang Huishu took a step forward from the light and asked directly, "Blood god, your 9 Hao Yuan fiend formation covers the entire burial land. Do you feel any strong fluctuations in the earth veins?" When the scion saw who it was, he hurriedly stood up and said, "It's Lord Jiang Huishu. I didn't control the formation, so let me ask." He took out an exquisite jade box, opened it on the spot, and sent a message into it. "Have you found the person you're looking for?" Jiang Huishu nodded. When the scion of the blood god heard this, a dark look flashed across his eyes. He said hatefully, "That person must have found a secret place to hide. I've mobilized almost everyone, but there's no news. But as long as he's still in this land of bones, he won't be able to escape from my grasp. I'm very curious about who it is that made you, blood god, so angry that you even set up such a big formation," Jiang Huishu said with a faint smile. "However, this is your sect's private matter and I have no right to ask. However, the earth vein seal just released a powerful fluctuation. You have to find out this for me." The scion raised an eyebrow and asked suspiciously, "The earth vein seal is fluctuating? Who can move that thing?" The jade box in his hand suddenly emitted a ray of light. The scion pointed with his right hand and immediately sent a strand of divine sense into his mind. He frowned and looked into the distance. 9,000 li to the west, there is indeed someone who sensed an extremely powerful energy fluctuation. I just don't know if it's coming from within the earth vein seal. Jiang Huishu thought of something and said, okay, continue to monitor it for me. Let me know immediately if there's anything unusual. The boneyard may not be peaceful anymore. If my prediction is correct, it won't be long before some big shots arrive here. A big shot. The scion's heart trembled. If even Jiang Huishu thought that he was an important figure, who could he be? He said in shock, could it be Wufu from the holy city of misty snow? Jiang Huishu stopped him and said, you just need to understand. Now, your main task is to monitor the fluctuations of the earth vein seal and any abnormal situation in the burial land. The person you are looking for can only be placed as a secondary priority. The scion kept cursing in his heart, but he still maintained a respectful expression. Lord Jiang, please rest assured. Leave the entire boneyard surveillance to me. That's good. After Jiang Huishu finished speaking, he turned into a beam of light and headed toward the west. After roughly sensing the direction, he sank into the mountain range and flew at a low altitude. After all, once one entered the range of the seal, one's divine sense would be completely gone. After the time it took to brew a cup of tea, a soft voice suddenly rang out and entered his ears. Yes, although I can sense the restlessness of my little friend, I can't find the exit. It's very annoying. It seems that I have to find someone to ask. Jiang Huishu was shocked. He stopped abruptly and looked around in horror. He shouted angrily, who are you? Get out here. He shouted, and the power of sound waves swept out in all directions. In an instant, a part of the forest was flattened, and a vacuum was revealed. The space distorted slightly, and many human figures gradually appeared in front of Jiang Huishu. Each of them exuded a strange aura. The man in the lead was handsome but demonic. He looked at Jiang Huishu and smiled, may I ask where the source of demonic qi is? How come I can't find the entrance? Jiang Huishu's pupils suddenly shrank, and his face instantly turned serious. He stared at the warriors behind the young man and said in horror, you're from the Supreme Sect? His gaze stopped on an old man and he said in surprise, are you the head of the Supreme Sect, Niujing? The Supreme Sect was not a big sect, but as a core figure of the Red Moon City, he had a deep understanding of the major forces of the eastern region. That was why he was able to recognize the people behind him. However, all of them had strange expressions on their faces, as if they were possessed. They were extremely respectful to the man before them. Who are you? Niujing asked coldly. After seeing my master, why haven't you kneeled down immediately and received orders from him? Jiang Huishu almost spat out a mouthful of blood. He laughed out of extreme anger. You bunch of idiots. He was really crazy. I'm Jiang Huishu from the Red Moon City. Oh. Red Moon City. The most powerful force in the eastern region? The man narrowed his eyes and smiled. Then you must know a lot. Please tell me the entrance to the source of demonic qi. Don't tell me you don't know, or I'll be angry. Jiang Huishu's heart trembled. Judging from the man's appearance, he was not even afraid of the Red Moon City. At any time in the past, announcing this name would at least cause the other party's expression to change slightly, but this time, he didn't see it at all. Is the Red Moon City that great? In the eyes of us Sanctuary Realm experts, you're just like a subordinate. If Master has something to say, why don't you quickly answer? A man beside the man was furious as he shouted. Jiang Huishu's heart suddenly trembled. He stared at the man and cried out, you think you're a saint-level law enforcer? What are you doing? This time, he was really shocked. He couldn't help but feel a chill in his heart. He suddenly thought of something and said in horror, a few days ago, there was news from the Red Moon City that a law enforcer of the Holy Region had disappeared in the eastern region for no reason. Could it be you? Jiang Huishu gasped and took several steps forward. He pointed at the man in the lead and said, who are you? It's obvious that these people's minds are not clear. You even dare to confuse the people of the holy region? You really don't know the immensity of heaven and earth. You can call me Dijia, the man said, smiling. His smile turned cold and he said, "You're full of nonsense. I've been waiting for you for a long time. I'm running out of patience. Take him down." He waved his hand. Yes. The ancient martial art practitioners behind him responded in unison. In an instant, dozens of beams of light broke through the air and shot toward Jiang Huishu. Jiang Huishu sucked in a cold breath. Although these people were not strong, the situation in front of him was too strange, which made him shudder. Several rays of light lit up in his hand and turned into a circle of light in front of him. Then, it suddenly burst open. Boom. The dozens of martial artists were all shaken away, and many of them even vomited blood. However, they did not stop at all and continued to attack, not afraid of death. Jiang Huishu calmed down a little after he gained the upper hand. Since his deified soul was suppressed, he couldn't see the strength of his opponent clearly. He was a little afraid at first, but now he was full of confidence. He snorted and said, "Since your consciousness has been eroded, then living in this world is nothing more than a walking corpse. Living is also a kind of pain, so let me free you." A folding fan slowly formed in his hand and opened up in the air with a "chi" sound. There were all kinds of patterns drawn on it with black ink. With a fan, sand and stones flew, and the world changed colors. Snatching the Wuji fan. A powerful wind-type chi gushed out of the fan and instantly hit the martial artists. One by one, their bodies exploded and turned into clouds of blood mist. Then, they were fanned by the fan and completely disappeared from the world. Even the Saint Realm Martial Emperor was forced back by the force of the attack, spitting out blood. "Oh, I didn't expect you to have some ability. Judging from the force of this fan, you should be a 4-star martial sovereign, right?" Di Jia said slowly, a sly smile on his face. "I really want to have a demon slave like you who is quite strong." Jiang Huishu snorted coldly. He grabbed his folding fan and placed it behind his back. He said disdainfully, "What evil spirit? It doesn't know the immensity of heaven and earth. Does it think that it's invincible after subduing a few dregs?" A sharp force shot out from his folding fan and swept across the area. Bang bang. The remaining few martial artists also exploded one by one and no longer existed. Only the Saint Realm Law Enforcer and the Sect Master of the Supreme Sect, Niujing, were left. Both of them were 1-star martial sovereigns, and their strength had increased greatly after they joined the devil. They were able to resist Jiang Huishu a few times, but it was obvious that they could not hold on any longer. The two of them spat out large mouthfuls of blood, but they still charged forward without fear of death. "Enough!" Di Jia shouted softly, and his eyes revealed a cold light. He grabbed the Saint Realm Law Enforcer and Niujing's shoulders and pulled them back. His body suddenly enlarged, and his head turned into a huge black demon. He bit the two of them and swallowed them before they could even scream. "You actually eat people?" Jiang Huishu was greatly shocked and said while trembling. What made him shiver even more was that when the Sacred Enforcer and the Cow Scripture were swallowed by this man, they did not struggle at all. When they were swallowed, he could clearly see a strange smile on the Cow Scripture's face, as if it was a great honor to be eaten by this man. This discovery made him so terrified that he almost suffocated. The scene in front of him was too terrifying and too strange. After Di Jia turned into a demon and devoured the two of them, he returned to his handsome appearance. He licked his lips and smiled evilly. Other than being able to do some simple work, demon slaves are originally used for eating. "You." Jiang Huishu suddenly felt a chill in his heart. This man ate people so casually as if he was eating steamed buns, which made him have goosebumps all over his body and tremble. Di Jia touched his belly and laughed. "I've digested it. I've replenished a lot of energy. But it's still too little." He seemed to be very dissatisfied, and his eyes fell on Jiang Huishu with a greedy look. "Evil demon, get lost." Jiang Huishu was shocked. He was really frightened by Jiang Chen's strangeness. The Wuji fan in his hand suddenly stirred up a strong wind. The entire space became extremely distorted under his fan and collapsed toward the center. He himself turned into a beam of light and escaped with a wave of his fan. No matter how strong this person was, he was still touched and shuddered. He didn't want to fight with this person. Di Jiao was swept by the strong wind and his body became absent-minded. He gradually stabilized after the strong wind passed. His face darkened and he said to himself, "It's still too weak. I can't even withstand a blow from a 4-star martial emperor. I'll recuperate this demon slave for now. I'll eat it after I find my third body and improve my strength." Di Jia looked in the direction of Jiang Huishu's escape and murmured, "I can't spread out my divine sense here, so I can only faintly sense something that seems to be in this direction. This person is from Red Moon City. Perhaps he really knows where the source of demonic chi is. Fortunately, I left a mark on him. Let's follow him and see." He immediately turned into a ray of demonic light and followed his mark. Jiang Huishu gradually stopped after running for a while. His eyes were still full of shock, and he couldn't come back to his senses. He was suddenly furious and said, "The people of the Blood God Palace are really useless. When did the burial land have such a character? No one actually informed me. After this matter, I'll definitely reprimand that blood god." After he stopped, he looked at his surroundings and frowned. The boneyard was really too big, and the place in front of him was very unfamiliar. Clearly, he had never been here before. After walking for a while, his body suddenly trembled. The scene in front of him gave him a big shock. In the mountain, a passage had been opened up, and the stairs led straight into the mountain. This Bayan. Jiang Huishu was shocked. He had been in charge of the burial land for so many years, but he had never known that there was such a place. However, he was not a reckless person. He began to observe the surroundings and quickly came to a conclusion that the mountain had just split open. Could this be the place where the seal was opened? Jiang Huishu immediately thought of this possibility. He was overjoyed and flew up in a hurry. Suddenly, his pupils shrank. 2 people were sitting cross-legged quietly outside the main hall, as if they were guarding something. Who is it? They were Yuqi Jin and Hua Yin. After being forced back by the zombie saber, they had been guarding the door of the hall, waiting for Yunxiao to appear. But, half a month had passed, and no one had come out. Gradually, the two lost their patience. Yuqi Jin and Hua Yin were also on alert when they heard someone suddenly shout. They stared at Jiang Huishu, and the atmosphere became a little tense all of a sudden. "And who are you?" Yuqi Jin coldly asked. Jiang Huishu frowned and said proudly, "Jiang Huishu of the Red Moon City." The people of the Red Moon City? The two of them were both shocked. Yuqi Jin's expression changed, and he snorted, "If you say you're from the Red Moon City, then you are? I can still say that I'm a saint." Jiang Huishu revealed a sneer. He had finally met 2 normal people. He would have been shocked when he heard the name of the Red Moon City, but a sense of superiority immediately welled up in his heart. He said coldly, "Could this place be the sealed land, and the seal was opened by you?" Yuqi Jin was stunned. He didn't know what seal he was talking about. He had a bad feeling in his heart, thinking that he had been discovered after opening the hall. He immediately snorted coldly and said, "So what if I am? So what if I am not?" Jiang Huishu squinted his eyes and said with a smile, "It's all right. I'm not going to pursue the crime of you opening the seal. However, please hand over the item that is suppressing and sealing me." An item used to suppress and seal? Yuqi Jin was stunned. He said with a dark face, "I don't know what you're talking about. We didn't get anything. Instead, we lost a few treasures." Jiang Huishu sneered and said, "Both of you look honest, but why are you so dishonest when you speak? This boneyard isn't up to you to play any tricks." Hua Yin also faintly felt that the atmosphere was a little off. She didn't want to provoke the Red Moon City for no reason, so she hurriedly said, "This place was accidentally opened by us. As for the sealed object you mentioned, we have never seen it before. Could it be a swan and eye?" "Are you talking about the living saber?" she asked in shock. That thing is still inside, and it's because it's too powerful that we don't dare to go in. My lord, if you are interested, you can go in and try it. That blade is indeed a precious treasure. Jiang Huishu frowned and said, a living saber? Ignorant. If you don't hand over the true dragon's secret treasure, I'll have to ask the two of you to come with me to the core area. Both of their expressions changed drastically. They had been in the boneyard for so many years, so they naturally knew what the so-called core area referred to. It was a forbidden zone clearly designated by the Red Moon City. It seemed that the person in front of them was really from the Red Moon City. Yu Qijin said, the two of us didn't get anything. It's such an injustice to follow you. This one still has important matters to attend to, so I won't be accompanying you. After he finished speaking, he turned into a golden light and tried to escape. What kind of joke was this? If he were to go to the core area, then wouldn't his life and death be in the hands of others? He didn't want to have any relationship with the people of the Red Moon City. You want to leave without handing over the treasure? You're really treating the words of my Red Moon City as child's play. Jiang Huishu was furious. He opened the folding fan in his hand, and the space was immediately locked by a huge force. Then, he waved it suddenly, and the sky and earth changed color. An unparalleled force blasted out. Yu Qijin's light suddenly solidified in the air and revealed his true body. In his shock, he played with the long black snake whip, which was like a dragon crossing the sky and pressing down. Bang! He had lost because his profound armament was too inferior. The other party's fan was obviously not an ordinary item, while his whip was like a penis, ugly and trashy. They were completely not on the same level. Huayin's heart trembled. She also felt that the huge fan was extraordinary, so she hurriedly said, my lord, it's true that we didn't obtain any treasures. Instead, we lost our best weapons. That's why we're guarding the entrance of the hall unwillingly. And there's someone inside, maybe Ying Luo got something good. Jiang Huishu shook the huge fan in his hand and pressed Yu Qijin down. He stumbled back to the front of the main hall and said coldly, do you think I'll believe your words? Unless you two come with me. The two of them were groaning in their hearts. They had not gained any benefits and had even lost their profound level weapons. Now, they were even involved in the matters of the Red Moon City. Even though they were martial sovereigns, they might just die at any moment. If you don't believe us, we can go in with you, Huiyin said with a bitter smile. With your ability, we can't escape. That's right, Yu Qijin hurriedly said. If the two of us leave with you now, the person who obtained the treasure might escape. Jiang Huishu found that the two didn't seem to be lying, so he said suspiciously, you said that the main character is still inside. Who is that person, and how strong is he? It was a matter of great importance to the seal. If the person inside had the ability to break the seal, he would really not dare to go in. Yu Qijin's expression was a little strange. He said awkwardly, he's so powerful. Maybe he's a low-level martial honor? Jiang Huishu's face darkened. He flew into a rage and shouted, damn it, you dare to play me. He lowered the Wuji fan in his hand, and the huge pressure in the sky suddenly fell down. He was too lazy to listen to the two people's explanation, and he also turned into a light and flew up. Boom. Yu Qijin and Huiyin dodged at the same time in great shock. The place where they had been standing was instantly shattered. The huge force on the fan chased after the two like a ghost, and they could not avoid it. Huiyin's body was like a flame as she tried her best to resist the pressure of the fan. She hurriedly said, Your Excellency, everything we said is true. Jiang Huishu wouldn't listen to her explanation. He didn't believe her at all. He sneered and said, I've seen a lot of sneaky people like you. When I take you two down, you'll become honest.